Hey everyone, TimaeuSS here, and welcome to another Honkai Star Rail video. So this is part 2 of our CN Bros tier list for the Lightcones, where we take a look at the available CN community tier list and see what they have been cooking for their Lightcones recommendations for each individual path as well as each individual unit. Well, if you didn't check the previous video I posted, do take a look. We took a deep dive into the Hunt's path as well as the Preservation path, looking at the main damage dealers Lightcone recommendations and the tank recommendations. So go check that out, it's on my channel. Now, in this video, we have basically summarized the recommendations from the 3 different CN sources, and we will take a look at their recommendations for the Harmony path, which is the support role that helps your main damage dealer do even more damage, as well as the Abundance path, which is key to in keeping your team alive because healers are currently very much needed. So we'll take a look at the Lightcones in each category. And now, the common theme is, I think you know by now, if you have the 5-star Lightcone, do you use that? Okay, so for Bronia's one is the Harmony 5-star Lightcone. Basically, it gives 3 separate effects. The first one is the energy regen rate, so that increases the energy regen for you to keep spamming your ultimate, and that synergizes with the second effect, which regenerates 1 skill point every time you use the ultimate on an ally. So currently, all the existing units that have their ultimate, you cast on your ally for the Harmony path. You have the Bronia with the buffs, you have Teaming with the energy refill, as well as Asta with buffs again. So every single one of them will benefit. So this triggers once every 2 uses of the wearer's ultimate. And now, when the wearer uses their skill, the next ally taking an action deals 30% more damage, and at max, it's 50% more damage. Now, this is specifically built for Bronia, not as ideal for the other 2, Asta and Tingling, but yeah, it's really hard to time the turn so that you know your DPS is going right after the supporting cast, which is, in Bronia's case, it's guaranteed because your skill will push. So taking a look at the other tier list, so let's see what they have recommended. So in the A tier, okay, across the different suggestions, they actually have different suggestions for each different unit that has different cone benefits. So if we take a look at the Bronia's one, it's past and future. This is basically a weaker version of the 5-star, right? You're not going to get the energy regen, you're not going to get the skill point refund, but you do get this damage boost when the next ally takes action. It goes up to 32%. And this is technically quote-unquote a free cone because you can exchange it from the Forgotten Hall store. So if you go into your spatial guide, or whatever this guide is called, go teleport into the Forgotten Hall, you exit out of there and you go into the shop, you can see that the past and future one is available for you to exchange, so you can easily max limit break it. And if you don't have Bronia's one, this is actually not a bad one at all to exchange for Bronia. Basically, it's a weaker version of the 5-star, but it will do. Now, the other 2, Carve the Moon, Weave the Cloud, and Dance Dance Dance, so far, a lot of the lists I've seen have a bit conflicting suggestions. So I'll try to summarize it as best as I can. But in most of the tier list, they suggest that Ting to be on the Carve the Moon and Weave the Cloud. So this one basically is a rotating buff that applies to the entire team, and I'm going to the data bank to show you guys for the Lightcones. And this one applies to the entire team, and it's a rotating buff that offers either attack boost, crit damage boost, or energy regen. And every time your support takes a turn, it'll apply a new effect, and it will replace the old one, of course. It'll be very good if it's stacked, and that would be insane. If it could stack, that would be really good, but unfortunately it doesn't. But still, all the buffs are fantastic, and for Ting, it's probably the best one, but personally I do like the other one, which I'll talk about. But for most of the CN tier list, they recommend that Carve the Moon and Weave the Clouds, because you're not guaranteed like Bronia to have your DPS go next, right? So that is the part. Now, Dance 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 is the other cone on the A list for the support or the Harmony paths, and this cone, personally, I like it very much. So when the wearer uses their ultimate, all allies' actions move forward by 16% up to a max of 24%. So you allow your allies to turn cycle really fast. I think this cone has actually the biggest potential if you build your support with high speed and you have really good energy gen. So you have your relics and you fish for energy gen, so you'd be spamming ultimate much faster. If you look at Ting's energy gen is pretty decent, right? So she's got that self-speed buff already. So if you can build speed and energy gen on Ting, I personally think later, potentially this would perform the Carve the Moon and Weave the Cloud. Just because you're going to be using ultimate a lot and you're going to be pushing all of your allies. And more turns means more output in terms of damage, right? And for Asta, this is I would say the best in slot 4-star, okay? Now, I'm gonna have to give a special shout out to this Planetary Rendezvous. So I call this B tier, so build specific, and a lot of the CN tier list, they do mention it for the Harmony supports. You can see that in Tingyuing, it's actually ranked as the second choice, and in even Asta, it's ranked the second choice. So this I think at the current moment is a bit more difficult to build. It is focusing on mono elements. Basically allows upon battle entry, if an ally deals the same damage type as the wearer, damage is increased by X amount and it goes up to 24. So this allows your support to equip a certain cone that directly benefits your main damage dealer, right? Because it's going to be the same type of damage. Now, currently, okay, Ting Yuan doesn't have Jing Yuan just yet. So obviously he's coming up and will do much better once that's set up. And for fire, Hook is all right, pretty fantastic in my honest opinion, but Himeko needs a buff. Himeko still, I think, needs a buff. So this build specific, I think we'll see a lot more play later on once we have mono team going. But until then, B tier. And then Memories of the Past is the Copium, and the Chorus is a 3-star cone that gives you attack boost. It's basically an option, but not recommended whatsoever if you have other choices, especially these 3 right here. Okay, so this is the path for Harmony. Now let's look at the healers. So healers are actually a bit limited in this game. So far we only have Bailu and we only have Natasha. Well, Natasha is a given, so which is fantastic, but Bailu is a 5-star, and of course Bailu's 5-star cone is the best. So yeah, you guys see the pattern, right? If you have the 5-star cone, most of the time it's just going to be the better one. So if we take a look at abundance right now, the time waits for no one. This is the Bailu cone, and increases the wearer's max HP and outgoing heals by a certain amount. So this is a double dip basically, because when you increase your max HP, you're also increasing your healing, because your healing scales with max HP. So for all of the tier lists that we have seen, okay, all of the tier lists that we cover here, in terms of the healing part, if we go into Bailu, in terms of the healing part, the recommendation will be at the very top, the Bailu 5-star cone, and it's going to be the same in this list as well. Bailu is right here. Yeah, it's her own cone, and because we only have 2 healers, the choices are pretty straightforward in terms of what you can equip as the second line. And in this tier list reflects that it's the post-op conversation. So the post-op conversation, I think, is not even that much worse, because it increases the wearer's energy regen. So you forgo that HP boost in comparison to the Bailu, but you gain energy regen, which is really good. And then when using ultimate to heal, it's obviously increased by 24% at max and 12% minimum. Now this is basically built for Natasha, in my opinion, because for those of you that do use Natasha, you will understand that Natasha is so freaking strong that her ultimate basically tops everyone up. You're using her single heal in only emergencies and if you need a dispel. So a lot of the times, I would say 80% of the time, you'll be doing auto attacks, and then your healing is going to come from your ultimate. So this not only allows you to heal more with your ultimate, but also increase the energy regeneration. And that's why there's pretty much no contest, and I would say it's the list that everyone agrees with across the CN community, that the post-op conversation is ranked just under the Bailu 5-star cone. And this is really good for Natasha. And for those of you that pulled on Seele's banner, this I believe is a rate up or something, so you're gonna have multiple copies of this, so don't worry about that. Now if we take a look at the 3 stars, okay, so shared, you get this at least 1 copy, the shared feelings from emissions, by just progressing through the story. So the shared feeling, this is the one that is quote unquote free, increases the wearer's outgoing healing by 10%. So this is not restricted to the ultimate like the post-op conversation, and when you use a skill, regenerate 2 energy for all allies. So this is it at super imposition 5. Similar, I would say very similar, but instead of regenerating the energy for the healer, you're regenerating for the allies, which is slightly more offensive in the terms of you're getting 4 per ally, 4, so that's 16, right? Versus I think post-op, if it's maxed, it's 16% energy regen rate for the user, whereas this is just 16 across the board for each. So they're gonna have their uses, but in my honest opinion, and in the current ranking shown by the CN lists right now, it's going to be Natasha's one for the 2 healers. We only have 2 healers at the moment. I'm sure more will come, but yeah. I do want to draw your attention to the 3-star. Okay, there's a 3-star that's ranked decently well, just under the 4-star that we just talked about, and this is the Cornucopia. Sounds like copium, but basically, when the wearer uses their skill or ultimate, increase the outgoing healing by 24%. So this is half. This is half of the cone that we went over at the post-op, as well as the shared feeling. It's increasing outgoing healing, but obviously as a 3-star cone, you're gonna lose a lot of stats, but at least it's still offering those outgoing healing percentage increases, especially if you don't have any of the other cones available and you want to slap this one on the free Natasha. So that's the ranking. The rest are kind of copium. There's also a warmth, let me double check what's it called. Warmth shortens cold night, and this is the battle pass one. Increases the wearer's max HP by 16%, so this helps with the healing, the scaling as well. And we're using a basic attacker skill, restore all HP equal to 4%, lowest 2% of their respective max HP. So this is kind of minimal. So you're really just getting it for the HP max increase, which helps with your healing output as well, because again, all the heals are HP scaling, but there are slightly better choices ahead according to the CN tier list. So let me know your thoughts. I know every time we go over the CN Bros tier list, either the characters or the Harmony Cube, not Harmony Cubes, or the Lightcones, there are, you know, commenters that disagree. And for example, for the Hunts one, they did not really think about the swordplay, because multi-hits, swordplay benefits a lot from multi-hits, so you can get that buff really quickly for units like Seele or Dan Kang. So I'm very surprised that they ranked it so low. So I think, at least from the Western side, you know, there's some testing via swordplay, and I'm curious to see if there's going to be a unique Lightcones usage out of the supporting cast, either the Harmony path or the Abundance path that the CN tier lists are not really covering. So let me know your thoughts again down below, and thank you guys for watching this video, and it's TimaeuSS here, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye now.